So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my video settings and /or the best video settings for competitive Fortnite in Season 5. If we go over to my video tab, you guys will see that we're going to go into settings, and then in the first tab, you guys can see full screen is the window mode that I would recommend that you guys play on, followed by playing on either the resolution 1920 by 1080 or 1600 by 900. However, I personally prefer 1920 by 1080 because I'm obviously a content creator and my videos need to look slightly crisp when I'm playing. Also, you guys need to cap your frame rate at whatever your monitor's refresh rate is, either the highest one, the one above the one that your monitor refresh rate is, or exactly what the FPS your monitor refresh rate is at. So let's say that you have a 60 Hz monitor, you should cap it at 60. If you have a 240 Hz monitor, you should cap it at 240. And if you have a 144 Hz monitor like me, you cap it at 144 FPS. Moving on, you guys can see that we have the brightness here. I keep my brightness at 100%. You can go 10% up or down. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. However, I would recommend that this season you try to turn it a little bit on the lower side, simply because this season there's a lot of bright stuff like the sand and the sun, and they mess with the color settings every season, and I think 90% is a perfect intermediate. However, I prefer 100% just because of the way that my monitor is set up. So yeah. So as you guys can see here, user interface contrast only controls your setting in your, that type of HUD. And colorblind mode, I would recommend you keep everything off unless you're really, really hell-bent on, kind of getting that best, vision in Storm. I would recommend that you guys turn that on to Protonope 8 or 7 if you guys are playing competitive like that. Anyway, moving on, as you guys can see, we have all low settings. I would recommend messing with turning this up to far view distance and high textures. However, for me, my textures do load better on low, and I do prefer a lower view distance just because I don't really feel the need to have a higher one, and it does give me a slightly better FPS. And then you guys can see that we have low 3D resolution is something that you can screw with a little bit. You can, bring it down, bring it up as much as you want, but I prefer to keep it at 100 just because it makes my game look good. And then as you guys can see, we have VSync turned off. VSync is awful. Please do not turn it on. I do not like the setting. I don't think anybody does, as a matter of fact. Then also, as you guys can see, motion blur is off, which is good. Show FPS, just so you can see your FPS. I personally use DirectX 11 after they've ruined performance mode. They basically made the builds look exactly like they do on mobile, so I do not like performance mode anymore. I did when the builds were more like the bubble wrap builds, but now I prefer DirectX 11. And then allow multi-threaded rendering I have off just because my computer does not really work well with it. As you guys know, I have weaker hardware and it doesn't really work well with my computer. However, if you guys have a CPU with more than 4 cores, then you guys should definitely consider turning this on. However, for me, I'm going to keep it off just for my PC. Then use GPU crash debugging. You guys should definitely turn this off. Latency markers, definitely turn this either on or off depending if you want to see your exact latency or not. Nvidia reflex low latency. If you have an Nvidia graphics card, definitely consider turning this on. And then latency flash, you should keep this off. Moving over to the game settings, this is pretty basic. It's kind of just like NAE settings, and make sure that your matchmaking region is actually on your region, not just auto, because auto will connect to various different fibers of other regions. So if you keep it on NAEs, you should be good. And then if we continue, you guys can see that I have toggle sprint off and I have sprint by default on, and then I also have auto open doors on, and then sprint cancels reloading I have off, obviously. Also, I have hold to swap pickup on because it just is more useful, toggle targeting off, mark danger when targeting on, auto pickup weapons off, and then auto sort consumables to the right side. This is a really important setting that not enough people have enabled. Basically, when you pick up stuff like a big pot or a med kit, this will automatically put it to the right side of your inventory essentially, and which is going to be really useful when it comes to kind of prioritizing that time and saving that time in competitive. And then as you guys can see, reset building choice I have off, disable pre-edit option I have on. If you're not playing with this on, I don't really know what you're doing, so yeah. Turbo building obviously on. Confirm edit on release. Now, this is a big topic of debate. I personally keep this setting on just because I like how it feels, for me at least. However, you can keep it on or off, and there's no real, serious skill cap. You can get really good with both of them. However, for me, I personally just like to keep it on. And then contextual tips and all of these settings don't really matter. I'd say the only one that probably matters is peripheral lighting. Peripheral lighting is kind of something that can either help or kind of ruin your FPS. For me, it does help because it kind of minimizes some kind of fancy lighting in some areas, and yeah. Now, as you guys can see, I have replays for, normal game on, and then I also have creative mode replays on just in case I want to try to, get a screenshot for something or get a thumbnail. So that's once again just me being a content creator. So yeah, that's why I have that on. Then as you guys can see, I have these HUD settings. The only thing that I have off in this is show spectator count just because I don't really care. You can have this on or off, but it doesn't really matter. And then obviously everything else I have on. And as you guys can see, HUD scale is kind of important. I would recommend you keep HUD scale everything that's 85 and below, because if you guys are going to put it at this level, it's going to be a very large and unnecessary HUD scale that you don't really need to be that big. I personally use it around 75 to 78. I'm going to keep it at 76 for now. But anyway, moving on to my sensitivity, I have 800 DPI, which means like dots per inch. I have 800 DPI on my Razer mouse, and I also have 1010 in-game sense, along with 32 and 32 for the most part of my ADS and scope sense. I really think that this is a really like kind of average sense. A lot of people have this exact sense. I didn't really copy it from anybody. I kind of just did the PSA method until I found my perfect sense. And ignore gamepad input. I used to have this on because I used to like sometimes try to abuse that double movement trick, but then I realized that could be considered sometimes cheating. And I did not use it in game, just to let you guys know. I only used it in creative. However, I turned this off now. Log input method is mouse. I have this off, which means that I can play down controller if I want to. Then also mouse flight. This doesn't really matter very much, so that's not really a big deal. Then if we move into the controller settings, if you guys don't know, I did try playing controller a couple of times. So like in my kind of like controller, I guess, career, I guess you can say. Now right here, as you guys can see, I should actually have advanced options on for some. I don't know why I don't. But I have controller auto run on, build immediately, builder pro on. Then I also have edit hold time at the lowest, vibration off. Then I have 1.7 for my build mode sensitivity multiplier, 1.4 for edit mode. Use advanced options obviously on. I just turned it on. Then I have 3636 for my sense. I got turning boost ramp time 0.20 seconds. I don't really know what this does, so I just kept it at what it was. 8% for my look horizontal and vertical speed, and then I also have exponential. I started using exponential just because it's better for my aim. I think I can edit on both linear and exponential better, so I just prefer aiming on exponential. But linear is also great. I think they're both pretty good right now. And then obviously for dead zones I have 1010, and then as you guys can see, foot controller, I don't really know what this does. I think it's for your like feet. If you're going to use a foot controller, that doesn't really matter. Then going into my audio settings, you guys can see that I have music on 0, sound effects at 50. That's just because I adjust my headphones in voice meter banana to be a certain level. So I think that's just the way, like it kind of is. Dialogue is obviously at 17. I don't really, care for dialogue very much. Voice chat is going to be low. Cinematics is going to be all the way max. Picture in picture is going to be all the way max. I think those two settings don't really matter unless you're like doing these insane cinematics. But yeah. Anyway, for sound quality, I have sound quality on low. The only reason that I have this on low is because I think weapons actually sound more crisp on low sound quality, and it gives you slightly better FPS. So that's why I have it on low right here. 3D headphones, unless you have like studio headphones, I would never recommend you use 3D headphones unless you like have like a really good gaming headset that has like kind of 7.1 surround sound, like super kind of like it says in the description that 3D headphones would work with this. Background audio I have off, subtitles I have off, visualize sound effects I have off. Don't turn this on. This actually gets rid of audio behind you, so like it gets rid of 3D audio whenever you're using this setting. Voice chat I have off, but I turn it on just in case I need it. And then all of these settings are pretty basic. And then license audio I have play, but when I stream I obviously turn it off so I don't get DMCA strike. Now these are my keybinds. My keybinds might be a little bit weird to some people, but they do work really well for me. I got all the standard movement binds. For auto run I use caps lock. For crouch I use left control. And then also, as you guys can see here, for fire I use all these basic settings. However, this is where it starts to get weird. I use 2 use binds. This is just in case I'm like doing a 50-50 on a chest. This is what I'm like that's the rest of the time I'm playing the game. And then as you guys can see here, for my harvesting tool I use G. And then for my AR I use tab. For my shotgun, my SMG, and then my first med slot I use 3, 4, and 5, and then left shift for my final weapon slot. I know these are a lot of keys to be using that are kind of weird, and I know most people would just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, I never got used to those. I only ever got used to 3, 4, and 5, so that's why I have those settings enabled. And then scrolling down once more, you guys can see that I have wall as my lower thumb mouse button. Then I have my floor as C, my stairs as my upper thumb mouse button. I used to have my floor as Q, by the way. Then my roof as X, my trap as T, and then all the standard other settings. And then I obviously have building edit is F, and then scroll wheel reset is mouse wheel down for me, just because I prefer that over up. And then yeah, basically all the standard keybind settings. I mean, I used to have switch quick bar as Q because I liked doing that for the slightly better movement. It wasn't great though. And then I don't really know what these settings do very much. And then yeah, obviously all the standard other settings. And then as you guys can see, I'm going to show you guys my controller keybinds. I do play with the PS4 controller, so this is kind of what it is. And I'm just gonna quickly, let you guys see this right here. So I have all of these for my combat controls. You guys can pause it if you want to check it out. Once again, my build controls, pause it if you want to check it out. My edit controls right here, and then my ability controls, and then my dead zone, which is 10. But yeah, this is it for the most part. So yeah, it's pretty basic. It's pretty basic settings. But that is the video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Consider using code SUNDATAFN in the Fortnite item shop. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.